is now pointless and done being spoken of. Browns fans wanted a lot of changes. They're going to get him Sunday against the Ravens. We'll see how it all shakes out. We'll talk about it now. Your latest Locked On Browns starts now.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends, your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound, LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. Appreciate all of you who make the show your first listen every single day. Become an everydayer, be like an everydayer. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Do not miss any of the action. Show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNFL and use code all lowercase LockedOnNFL to win $50 instantly when you play $5. Browns, Ravens, Sunday, 1:00. Look, for weeks, everybody wanted to see a different quarterback. We all know how we got here. We all know the situation that led to this, but we will finally get to see said different quarterback Sunday as Jameis Winston begins his Cleveland Browns career as the starting quarterback. Ken Dorsey has certainly been here for the first half of this season. We have seen nothing in our time during the Kevin Stefanski regime and have seen nobody else other than Kevin Stefanski be the play caller for this offense. It certainly had its ups and certainly had its downs. Another thing that folks were saying, can we get a look at somebody else? We're going to get just that because it looks and appears that over the next 11 weeks, that Ken Dorsey will be the primary play caller for the Cleveland Browns. A lot of people have been done with Jedrick Wills for a while. You guys know my stance on that. And I kind of almost got to the point where I felt bad because, Jed Wills was a guy and a trooper that kind of went out there often banged up. But, the writing's on the wall. We know it's, going to be over once the season is over. But Jedrick Wills will be out Sunday, which means somebody, and most likely it appears that is going to be DeJuan Jones, who's going to start at left tackle in his place. Something you guys have wanted to see, something we will get to see. Wholesale changes coming for the Cleveland Browns on Sunday. Now with Ken Dorsey, the question with Ken Dorsey, and I think what everybody is, probably going to ponder, and we're all going to watch play out on Sunday, is does Ken Dorsey's style, does it suit a Jameis Winston? Ken Dorsey's probably most successful run, and it was odd because certainly it didn't go very well last year, which led to his dismissal from the Buffalo Bills. His style, kind of a lot of people felt held Josh Allen back. From people I've spoken to, it wasn't necessarily Ken Dorsey's call. I think the Buffalo Bills just didn't want to sacrifice, the face of the franchise week in and week out. They wanted to make sure that, Josh Allen could go out and be Josh Allen in big games that mattered, certainly in playoff games. So what does Dorsey do here? What is the best plan of attack, with this offense? Understanding the Baltimore Ravens do give up the 32nd in pass defense. It's a defense that certainly has had its struggles. We'll see if they have Marlon Humphrey, who was out from practice today and carries a doubtful label into Sunday's game against the Browns here in Cleveland. I apologize, everybody. I am, kind of battling through a little bit of cold here. So, you have Nick Chubb, Nick back. So hopefully all the newness and the, getting back and acclimated kind of is, out of the system. You knew there was going to be that, welcome back moment. Can he, and an offensive line that most likely is going to be DeJuan Jones, Joe Bitonio at left guard, Ethan Posick at center. Things look good, like Wyatt Teller will be ready to go and return as the starting right guard, which of course is also going to have Jack Conklin at right tackle. Coming into this season, and when they all finally started to return, these were the 5 guys who would most likely shape into what could be the best version of the Cleveland Browns offensive line. There was talk early in the season that, maybe when Jack Conklin returned, he was going to be the left tackle, and they were maybe going to, not take DeJuan Jones out of the starting lineup. DeJuan struggled early this season. You don't know if it was maybe, being ready to return to action as opposed to maybe being completely ready. It does seem a tad bit odd to me that DeJuan Jones is going to go to left tackle. But we'll see how it works. I've talked recently, there's a lot of things you have to do here as far as player evaluation over the next few weeks. And it certainly is. DeJuan Jones is a huge guy into this. Number one, the Browns can continue to kick the curb down the street for the entirety if that's what they choose to do. But you do that with the thought process of trying to be very successful, and we'll worry about this year, we'll worry about everything else later. That's great to do if you're playing in January and playing in playoff games. Cleveland Browns would love to work on the salary cap. So that would mean obviously a guy like DeJuan Jones, for the next 2 years under a rookie contract, being a starter would be huge for this team. They pay a lot of money. They pay a ton of money for this current offensive line. Sadly, they're not getting the return on that investment that they have in years past with this offensive line. So DeJuan Jones is a huge player going further here over the next few weeks. You also want to take a big, deep look here at the receiver position. Cedric Tillman for 8 receptions over 80 yards last year was huge. Is that something that can fit, for Ken Dorsey? Is Ken Dorsey finally going to be somebody that's kind of going to, preach the vertical game? Because, you guys know, the everydayers know, people who've been here forever know that I have a big bone of contention with that. They just don't throw it. They don't even try to throw it deep. They run very little patterns deep. So to sit there and try to play, death of 1,000 paper cuts offense, or expect your quarterback, to play and perform at a 70% completion percentage is almost ridiculous. Chunk plays, big plays. They leave a good amount on the field, and they certainly don't play call for a bunch of others. That's going to be a key. Can they get the run game going? Can they find a way to take advantage of this Ravens secondary that's still trying to work its way into it? Rookie Nate Wiggins has been a nice pick, but there's times where he looks great, and there's times where he looks, rough. So we're all excited. And for Ken Dorsey, he gets to come in this. Jameis Winston gets to come in this. Clean slate. So go out there and play like it. This team is 1-6, but Ken Dorsey and Jameis Winston are not. So we're going to continue here. Ravens offense clicking on all cylinders. Lamar looks like a beast yet again. Your latest Locked On Browns rolls on. We're going to talk Browns defense, Ravens offense. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. You can now win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. Prize Picks puts its members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. When my pick hits, I get my money in as quick as 15 minutes. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. If you think Cedric Tillman can get over 43.5 yards, go ahead and wager it. If you don't, obviously you're going to go less than. If you think Nick Chubb can get over 51.5 yards, you take that wager as an over. Prize Picks is the best way to win real money this football season. Which players are going to go off? Which ones aren't? Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. You guys know, whether it's the Browns game or whether it's the primetime game, I love to put together my lineups. Just makes my viewing experience a little more better. Had a lineup last night, hit on everything on overs. hit early on those as the game got a little bit tighter as the game went on. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 off instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, download the app today. Use code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Pre-alcoholic probiotic drink by Zyobiotics is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make Zyobiotics your first drink of the night. Drink responsibly, and you'll feel your best tomorrow. Look, I'm not as young as I once was, but I still like to indulge every now and then. I like to have a good time with my friends, but I also need to function the next day. I'm not going to lie. I was a bit on the fence about pre-alcohol initially, but then while hanging out with some friends, while we were out, I gave it a shot. A couple of drinks with vodka in it. I'm normally not a hard alcohol guy, but I gave it a shot. Woke up the next day, did not miss a beat. This is how you use it. You drink the pre-alcohol. For best results, make pre-alcohol your first drink of the night. You've got to also drink responsibly. Pace yourself, hydrate, and of course, try and get a good night's sleep. You wake up feeling refreshed and ready to take on the day. It helps you enjoy your tomorrow. Go to zyobiotics.com/LockedOnNFL to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use LockedOnNFL at checkout. Zyobiotics is backed with 100% money guaranteed. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. Remember to head to zyobiotics.com/LockedOnNFL and use code LockedOnNFL at checkout for 15% off. Locked On Browns pregame. It continues. Browns will host the Baltimore Ravens Sunday, 1 o'clock, Cleveland Browns Stadium. The Browns, a lot of newness on offense. And look, we all wanted it. We all know we did. We wanted to see maybe what a different play caller other than Kevin Stefanski was going to do. We've all wanted to see a different quarterback. Well, we have no choice now. We are going to get that new quarterback in Jameis Winston. Jedrick Wills has certainly been a hot button topic for his 5 seasons. Well, we are going to get a resolution on that as well. But now we're going to talk a little bit about Cleveland Browns defense against the Baltimore Ravens offense. Look, Lamar Jackson is in a Lamar Jackson heater. He is in the zone. We have seen Lamar play like this so many times within the regular season. 5 touchdown performance Monday night against Tampa. I will admit, and anybody who's an everydayer or listens to this show often knows, I didn't necessarily understand the Derrick Henry acquisition when they first made it. Not a knock on Henry, certainly not a knock on the Ravens. I just wasn't sure why the Ravens felt this need to go out and get such an established running back when one of the issues for the Baltimore Ravens the entire time that they have had Lamar Jackson has never essentially been the running game. They've always run the ball well, whether it was J.K. Dobbins, whether it was Gus Edwards, Keaton Mitchell, who's slowly making his way back and does not look like he will be available this Sunday. Thank God. But the Derrick Henry acquisition has worked out very well. He has scored a touchdown for the Ravens in every game thus far this season. We know there's times where the Cleveland Browns have matched up with Derrick Henry in the past and absolutely had his number. There have also been times, first game in 2019, where Derrick Henry ate their lunch and made them watch while he ate their lunch. Now, that's all good. It truly is. But I don't think that's really, in my opinion, what's been the most impressive part of the Baltimore Ravens offense to this point. The point is they are now a full skill set unit that is probably on par with the talent of Lamar Jackson. Zay Flowers, this is certainly going to be an interesting one to watch as well. Missed the last 2 days of practice, came back in a limited capacity on Friday. right now their number one receiving weapon for the Baltimore Ravens, but he is carrying a questionable label as well going into this game on Sunday. We'll know more about that certainly Sunday morning about 11:30. Mark Andrews, as much as Mark Andrews has been a PIA for the Cleveland Browns, he is not necessarily their top tight end anymore. That torch has been passed. Isaiah likely a little bit more athletic, kind of built a little bit more like a bigger wide receiver as opposed to a true tight end. We've all seen it, last couple of years, the emergence of likely certainly had a big week one against Kansas City Chiefs. He is always a guy where at any point you're talking a 35, 40-yard play, and a lot of those plays end up being backbreakers in a lot of these games the Ravens play. Rashad Bateman has really stepped up. There's been a lot of missed time for Bateman over the last couple of years, and probably initially when the Baltimore Ravens drafted him, the thought process was he was going to be a true number one wide receiver for this team. He's not. But the point is, and what is really working out for Baltimore is, it's not like he busted. He's there too. And if you saw Monday night, he's starting to round his way into being a pretty damn fine number two wide receiver. Lamar can exploit you everywhere. Not only does he have Derrick Henry, not only does he have Flowers, likely, and Mark Andrews is still making plays, and of course Bateman. And then there is still the insane running ability and just absolute playmaking ability that exists within the body of Lamar Jackson. I'm hoping the Browns are going to go younger on the D-line. I'm hoping for more Michael Hall. I'm hoping for more Isaiah McGuire. I'm assuming Denzel Ward and Zay Flowers are going to have a date on Sunday and spend as much time as possible with each other. The defense needs to have to step up. It's got to be an overall unit. Look, they've been better against the run lately. They need to start to get back to where they were last year, which means they are threatening the opposing team's quarterback more, which helps certainly with their pass defense. Look, it's 1-6. It's 1-6. It's a crappy hole to be in. There was no question about it. But you have to have this mentality now where you need to leave 1-6 in the locker room. You want to go out there and perform. You want to go out there and live up to your contract. You don't want to disappoint your fans. And I don't want to hear any more of this fans versus players. Those fans are going to show up on Sunday. Look, they've shown up every Sunday for damn near 26 years. So don't give the fans a hard time. They want a winning product just as bad as the guys in the locker room do. And they are a different fan base than most because they've gotten a slight taste. And they would like to go on a run like the Ravens and the Steelers and all these other teams that are just good and relevant for year after year after year. There's nothing wrong with the fans wanting that. But go out there, and it may be tougher than ever because Lamar's offense is just dang good. But this is a team that also lost to the Las Vegas Raiders. Doesn't mean they can't be beaten. And we all know anybody in the NFL can be beaten on any given Sunday. We're going to continue on here. Some final thoughts here. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. Hey, NFL fans, you can start the season with a big return on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So when you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. You'll get started with $200 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Your latest Locked On Browns continues. Your host, Jeff Lloyd. You guys are an amazing crew. I appreciate all of you who make the show your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd. You guys are the best. I suggest more people join them. Become an everydayer. Subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. Do not miss out on any of the action. I am actually probably going to drop something for you tomorrow. I've been working on something, as far as where the quarterback position looks to be headed for 2025. So there's a good chance I'll have that out for you tomorrow. Some bonus thing I've been working on for a couple of days. So I just, want to give you guys a little teaser on that one. Of course, the show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. Now, we've talked certainly about the offense and all the changes that we're going to see come Sunday, whether it's Dorsey, whether it's Winston, certainly whether it is Jed Wells. Defensively, overall, in my opinion, this is probably the greatest collection of skill talent the Baltimore Ravens have had in Lamar Jackson's time there. So certainly, a storm could be a brewing, if you know what I'm saying. But here is the thing for the Cleveland Browns. And look, 1-6, we all get it. It stinks, everything about it. But the Cleveland Browns can be a much more improved product on Sunday. And look, it ain't about moral victories. It's not. But these guys, at the end of the day, are going to know whether they gave it their all and fell short or they didn't and got beat down. You can have a much improved effort. The team can look better in all three phases of the game. And to be realistic, as good as the Baltimore Ravens are right now, it might not be enough. But for guys like Cedric Tillman, for guys like DeJuan Jones, for guys like Isaiah McGuire and Mike Hall, these guys are fighting for hopefully what can help them help this team become good, great, relevant in the years to come. And they would like to have their part and hand in that. So, yes, our viewing probably changes and our rooting and how we look at all this at 1-6, it's probably going to change a little bit. And it's weird. Nobody's happy about it. Again, we're not. But, you all stick with this franchise. You guys treat this franchise like family, and it's crazy impressive. It really has. And, I've always been positive in my speaking about the fan base here, their love for this team, their backing for this team. And I know it's tough for you guys all to be here. And I don't think it's going to be that hostile on Sunday. I think the fans are going to go in there and hope the Baltimore Ravens lose to the Cleveland Browns. You have Nick Chubb, you have David Njoku, you have Denzel Ward, you have Myles Garrett, you have all your great players. And you want to see how this all, plays out and hopefully starts to turn kind of positive for this team. It's fair. It's what you want. It's what every fan wants at the end of the day. My excitement level is there. I really, there's some other guys still. Jamari Thrash is a guy. I would let Jamari Thrash involved more. I would, excited to see Mahmoud Diabate continue to be a starter, which he will be, as Jordan Hicks is going to be out. Because it really looks like that linebacker pairing going further is going to be JOK and Mahmoud Diabate. And again, another spot where the Browns can save money, just like McGuire, just like Mike Hall. You don't need to pay top salary if you are not going to have a team that performs at a top salary level. I'm not saying Jimmy Haslam can't continue to pay whoever, whatever. They can. But you kind of save that when you think it's just something you need to just get you over that final hump, get you over that goal line, so to speak, in this scenario. DTR practice this week. Appears he is healthy enough and will be the backup on Sunday. Hopefully, and no offense to DTR, if it's going to be Jameis, I want to see Jameis. We did this way too many times last year where the Browns ended up in a situation where a quarterback who played the majority of the play on Sunday in games was not the quarterback who had the majority of the practice reps as QB1. So it is a Jameis week. And let's see what he can do. Look, as far as, the rumblings of, did he call the end around the jet sweep to Cedric Tillman? Is the coaching staff already worn out their welcome? Well, even if any of those things are true, and I don't deny Bo Bishop, obviously, Bo speaks, he certainly listened to it. But if there is the issue, Jameis Winston can erase all that on Sunday. Jameis Winston, go out there, throw the ball around, throw for 300 yards, throw 3 touchdowns. Again, it may not be enough to win the game, but it'll be enough to confirm some belief in some of the offensive players and certainly staff that maybe they were being held back by their former starting quarterback, or maybe what they are doing is not all completely wrong. This is a big one. And look, it's the Ravens. We know how good they are, but this will be your measuring stick. This is your measuring stick in the AFC North right now. They are the best team in that division and have been the best team in the division for a while. You need to go out there and show that you can still compete. You cannot roll over. They quit, and the play looks like they quit. That's going to bring out more negativity. And, this is not stuff I want to talk about. I want to talk about on-field play. I want to talk about fans versus players, players versus fans. It's a small part of what I get paid to do. Talking about the game is what I get paid to do, and that's the part I love to do. You guys know how I feel about these type of issues. It's just, stuff I don't necessarily want to entertain. Now, I believe it's at about 9.5 right now. So if you want to hit up FanDuel, look, it comes down to, where the money's headed. You want to make some money, put some money on the Browns. You want to break even, pick the Ravens. I'm looking for a good game. I think the Browns are going to battle. I think the Browns are going to fall short, but I think they're going to battle because I think there's a lot of guys, and they will not say it, but I think there's a lot of guys that thought just like you fans do. Hey, what if we just tried some changes? What if we tried a different play caller? What if we tried a different quarterback? What if we tried playing a couple different players? Give it a shot. You got nothing to lose. You're 1-6 already. So Browns Ravens Sunday, 1:00. Obviously, you will have an episode from me tomorrow. Just trying to peek the curtain back a little bit at where the quarterback situation might be, heading into 2025. Of course, make sure you check out the Locked On NFL shows. Tyler Rowan's fantastic. Tony Wiggins, great as well. We'll be back Sunday right after kickoff, hopefully talking about a much better Browns development, perhaps even a win. We'll see. Who knows? I am your host, Jeff Lloyd. I appreciate all of you who make Locked On Browns your first listen every single day. The everyday crowd, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you all. You're also a bunch of crazy folks. I love you guys. So I would like you all to join in on the insanity and become a Locked On Browns every day, or subscribe to Locked On Browns YouTube channel. The show is always available. It is always free wherever you get your podcasts. This has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.